Going on. This is the Working Investor. In this video, we are going to review ticker symbol USAF. If you're worried about the United States of America's economy going effed, well, this is an interesting fund that has shown resilience against the great dip of Liberation Day. And it has an interesting twist, and there is even a guy named Dr. Doom that runs this fund. If that's what you're looking for, let's get into this video. As always, nothing here is financial, tax, legal advice, or any sort of doom and gloom advice. This is purely for fun and entertainment purposes only. With that said, let's get into the video. Before we go any further, let's get right into the chart. So this ETF, the reason why I'm attracted to it, and by the way, somebody in my Discord brought this up to me. I do have a free Discord. The link will be in the description. Nobody will ever ask you for money or push any products on you. There are scammers out there that try to prey on especially financial Discords. So just flag him and they're spam. That's not me, and let me know. We could get rid of them. So one of my Discord members brought to my attention that this fund has great resilience in crashes. So I don't look at this like beta. I look at this as an alpha fund. So I'm not expecting this to outpace the S&P. I'm looking at this as a solid, rock solid fund that could withstand the test of time. So this has been around since November of 2024. And if you're going straight into, this is the why, right? So if you're going to go ahead and compare this to the S&P 500, and we're back testing 15 months. You're going to see here, starting with 10K in this fund, Atlas American Fund USAF, and 10K in the S&P. So obviously this did pretty well. It turned, you have a 10.6% compounded annual growth rate or annual return versus 12.71. So obviously not as great, but this is where the secret sauce is. The standard deviation is amazing. It's only 3.68. This thing doesn't fluctuate too much. Look at that. It's rock solid. If you're worried about volatility in your portfolio, this thing has a good track record. Versus the S&P in this period is 10.4%. I believe historically, if you go back further timelines, the S&P is on average around 14% vol. The best year was 9% versus the S&P 17. The worst year was only 16 basis points to the negative versus the S&P 2.4%, 240 basis points. The maximum drawdown was only 80 basis points. And if you go into the little icon here, you'll see it was extremely quick. It was only in July of 2025, and within the same month, going into the next month, they already recovered. Versus the S&P 500, which had a greater than 7x drawdown, and this drawdown started in February, and the duration was all the way going down until April, and it only recovered in June. So this had like a quick intra-month drawdown and bounce back recovery versus the S&P's max drawdown took several months till it recovered. The Sharpe ratio is incredible, double the Sharpe ratio of the S&P. The larger the Sharpe ratio, the better risk-adjusted return. Even though the return is less, it's only 10% versus 12%, the risk you're taking is much less because your standard deviation, which is basically your volatility, is much lower. So you're doing something that's very low standard deviation with a return that's not too far off the S&P so far. Past performance is not indicative of future gains. And the Sortino ratio is amazing. The higher, the better. This is almost like 3 or 4x Sortino ratio. So this is a special ratio that tells you the ratio to the downside. The higher the number, the better. So this thing is kicking butt on a risk-adjusted return standpoint in so many ways. So let's go ahead, and this is what got me into it, and let's look at their secret sauce. So, I mean, you guys can read, but I'll read it quickly. So this is basically the U.S. economy. So here's my cliff notes, right? So this fund is basically the U.S. economy. So think about food production, rare earth metals, real estate, etc., and also military defense and healthcare. So it focuses on short-term treasuries. Think about less than 2-year treasuries. Why not long-term treasuries? Because they're more sensitive to inflation. And then that's what the fund manager says. Then REITs, they talk about climate resilience. So they're looking for geopolitical war and looking for climate changes. So they're looking for machine learning. I read an article about their machine learning This is an article I'll link in my description about the climate change resistant, whatever metrics they use. They have rare earth metals, including gold. They have security. They have, like, for example, ticker symbol SHIELD and healthcare. So let's get into that's a little overview. And this guy, he's Dr. Doom. So he actually foresaw, or he's foreseen the 2008 great financial crisis. So he's the one that actually saw it in advance. He actually has been the advisor for fund managers for decades. So he's been a fund manager's advisor. And he only became a fund manager himself at age 66. So he's like, you know what? Let me take a crack at it. I've been helping all these guys for so many years, for many, many decades. Let me take a crack at it. Let me open my own fund. And he questioned the narrative of the 60-40 stock and bond portfolio. So going on the website, you can see that this is when they came out, November of 2024. They have a gross expense ratio of 89 basis points. They do hold other ETFs inside, so maybe their fee is 75. I guess this is it's a moving target based on their holdings of the other ETFs. I guess that's like a pass-through thing. And these are their net assets. So you can see here their little synopsis. They're looking for stable returns, as you saw on the chart, across a variety of economic and financial market conditions, consistent with preservation of capital. The number one objective, in my opinion, of investing is to preserve and grow your wealth. But first preserve and then grow your wealth. Warren Buffett says, rule number one, don't lose money. Rule number two, defer to rule number one. So this fund is coinciding with that rule, preservation of capital, offering a diversified exposure to U.S. Treasuries, real estate, gold, and agricultural commodities. The USAF ETF focuses on resilience, capital preservation, and long-term growth across economic cycles. So here you could see what we were talking about, that he's questioning the narrative of the 60-40 portfolio. It's like an alternative to it because it has non-correlated holdings inside of it. We're talking about the resilience. It's a diversification tool. It's a multi-strategy fund. It is, and it's with this guy, Dr. Norel Rubini. Now, it's very important. We talked a little bit about the fund manager, the three fund managers, but he's the main one. It seems like you need to know where he's coming from. This guy was a White House senior economist for international affairs and Council of Economic Advisors from 1998 to 2000. And he was an advisor to the U.S. Treasury Department. So he's been advising the government. He's been advising other fund managers. He's a big advisor of advisors. Let's put it that way. You know? This guy is a smart guy, and he's very trustworthy and has a lot of ethos, it seems like. So let's get into the holdings. I think I have a tab right here. So if you look at their holdings, I found it quite interesting. We'll just go through some of them. So obviously they have GLDM, which is gold, right? And I noticed they kind of break it up. They can have the same holding, but they have it in different types of ETFs. So they have the mini shares from GLDM. Then they have iShares, IAUM, also micro gold. So why do you have to have both? I guess they want to be resilient. So they want to have it in two different packages of ETFs. And I found this interesting too, guys. Look at this. Schwab's short-term treasury ETF. And then you have Vanguard short-term treasury ETF. And then you have Spider's portfolio short-term treasury ETF. So they seem like they're exactly the same thing. They just like break it up between different, for whatever reason, I guess they really want to be resilient if one fund goes, I don't know, to trash or something. I just found it kind of interesting. And that's probably why you had that extra expense ratio, because it's their expense ratio on top of the expense ratio of the funds they have. So it's like a tippy top expense ratio. They also have the commodity ETF. They have Invesco's PDBA. And you can see here their strips. So they also have treasury, inflation protective treasury products. I like that they have tips. Now, it's very interesting that they have gold and tips. So gold and tips both help with inflation, right? So TIPS is based on what the government is willing to admit what the current inflation is based on their markers when they have their Fed meetings. So that's what the government wants to admit. And you and I both know they are off a lot by a long shot. But at the very least, what the government admits is the inflation, at least TIPS will kind of like keep up with that. Gold, on the other hand, is also an inflation hedge. And it's probably, maybe some argue it's a real inflation hedge. Also, gold is global, so it's not just US. It's not pitted to the US necessarily. And gold also has some sentiment in there. Whenever there's fear, risk off, geopolitical tension, people go to gold, not necessarily for inflation. So there is inflation aspect to gold, and there's also a sentiment aspect to gold. So two different vehicles to help you with inflation into this ETF. I also wanted to note that they have this interesting fund called TBT, which is ProShares Short 20-year Treasury. So they're short, it's a 2x short 20-year Treasury. So they're short long-term Treasuries by a factor of 2x, and they're long short-term Treasuries and long TIPS. I just wanted to bring that up. I found it very amusing. Also, if you notice another theme, they have a lot of defense. So look at this ticker symbol BUG, which is Global X Cybersecurity ETF. So that's a global ETF on cybersecurity. They have ZAR, which is aerospace and defense. That's what it seems like. And they have iHack, which is also US, that's iShares cybersecurity and tech. So they have a lot of cybersecurity and aero defense in there. So that's the defense. And we mentioned REITs, and they have their machine learning to find the climate resilient REIT. There's your ticker symbol O. There's a bunch of like other REITs in here. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar. I think AMT is a REIT. I did notice some healthcare holdings in here. And I've also noticed like nursing facilities and, of course, agriculture. So you could say like, just a joke, like they take care of vegetables and vegetables, right? Agriculture and nursing homes. Anyways, so this is very interesting. And this probably explains, I have the year over year, and this explains a lot of the resilience. And if you look carefully at the chart, here you do see some correlation. And here you see it's not really correlated. I just wanted to double check again that correlation coefficient. Look at that, guys. So this is a negative 0.03 correlation coefficient. It's not even a little correlated. It's negatively correlated in this period of time. So this concludes our video. Let me know what you guys think of this ETF. I actually added this to my portfolio, a small position. It's part of my alternative alpha. There's a whole nother discussion to talk about by replicating your beta and porting your alpha to give you an enhanced portfolio. That's a topic for a different time. Anyways, this is the Work Investor over, and I hope you guys have a wonderful trading week. All the best and be well.